Thanks for staying with us. So a story went viral about a young lady who was standing up to her father. According to the story, the video that went with the man was actually allegedly accused of attempting to physically assault his wife. When the daughters stepped in, the enraged man was holding a belt, and according to one of the daughters, he had threatened to send their mom to her early grave. However, they both stood up against their father. Now, many conversations have come up from this video that went viral, and one of which was the fact that, do we want people to start defending themselves in these kind of situations? Because when a video like this went viral, a lot of young people are watching and thinking, okay, if I see my mother beat my father, if I see my father beat my mother, do I begin to defend them, or do I? What's the right thing to do? Secondly, do the witnesses of the abuse begin to start standing up? Are we trying to get people to start standing up for their loved ones at this point? Or we're trying to ensure that people do the right thing by going to the police or ensuring that family members are involved? What's the best way? What's the best approach? And what are your thoughts when you saw this video? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081. Once the numbers get on the screen, you can get this. I can't remember the numbers again. But once you get the screen, the numbers on the screen, please call the numbers to. Waiki, what are your thoughts on this?
Why don't you come to me first?
Okay, let me come to.
Okay. Yes, my thoughts. Really sad situation where a child had to step in a case of, domestic violence. But this is not the first time. Many times there are children involved. It always plays out that way, that the children, from when they're even very little, from when they can barely talk, they understand that one person is in distress and another person is causing it. You see them run, leave my mommy, and it's such a sad thing to watch. And what even makes it for me even more heartbreaking is that usually that child grows up to do the same. Exactly. Because that is their reality, that's what they know, and that's what they have carried with them. Or you see children that have anger issues. So that's why some people will say to you, when you find yourself in such a toxic environment, we have this explanation, I don't want to say excuse, where people will say, I'm staying because of the children. And many times we have found that staying because of the children will do them more harm than good. Usually, if you're able to take your children out of that toxic situation, they don't get to witness it and think it's okay, and think that the only way to handle a toxic situation is to be in it and have your children stand in between you and, your spouse that is causing this.
According to this story, these people have been married for 26 years. I would like to assume that they've had several fights in the past. And family members have probably also tried to get involved, because these are grown children. These are not kids. They're the grown, and they're telling their dad to stop hitting their mom. Now, when you saw the video, Nima, let me come to you. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think it was the right approach to defend themselves at this point?
So the video is not the first time I've seen this happen. The first time was shocking, because a young man, at this time with full biceps, stood full height to his father and said, lift a finger again, I'll beat you blue black. When you lead your children to that point, you've lost every self-worth and respect. And in defense of him, the old man was saying, it's your mother, yeah, can you see me? And, I just felt this man is a full-grown baby. He's refusing to grow up. You're watching your children grow up every day. You think that your way of life is okay. Now, the only reason I think that young man stood up is because his mother is being beaten. I don't think that he thinks that beating a person is bad. So maybe if he had a wife tomorrow, it would be an alternative he might take. But he stood up because this is a woman I see struggle. The woman will go in the rain, roast corn and everything, and then she comes home for things like the meat is 1, is 2, is not enough. She's being beaten. And so he stood up to his dad. Hopefully he gets that help, but that was a long time ago. So for me in this video, this man is just like that. An adult refusing to be one, always in a space of myself, my world, I'm in control of everything mentality. And if we are raising children who start like that, those children who are never wrong amongst their siblings, who are always, it's always someone else's fault. You're raising them in a man or a woman. It's something parenting has to address when they are little. This man has now grown. He has adult children, and he doesn't know his children are grown. To him, he's saying, the tradition is forbidding for you to raise your hand at me. Yes, it is. But it is a necessity if it is in defense of somebody they feel that is more weaker than you. You know, a child can push themselves in between you and their mother. And if you throw something bigger or unbearable and they push it back, it might just be in your face. You know, they might just want to block a blow from their mom and they land you this way and you're slapped by your child. When you're getting your home to that point, you are refusing to grow up and face the reality. Once your child passes 15, is a man, let your head correct. If your daughter is 18, immediately switch on. You are not living with your friends and age mates if you're not careful. And this abuse continues because we now bring in the myth and all the traditional whatever around it. Forbid. Our people will shout, agua, agua, agua. Agua for waiting. Will they forbid them? Yes. But look at the person you're dealing with. You've pushed your family to that circle. So when do you want to address your ways of meeting and having an argument with your wife?
Some will argue that these children shouldn't have released that video because you're not just embarrassing your mother, you're also embarrassing your father. And it's like now the whole world now knows, oh, this is who you're. You know how our African culture, like, you have to keep these things, don't let family members handle it. By releasing the video, what you've done is not just embarrass yourself, you embarrass the entire family.
Release the video. Okay. You know, what if they sent it to someone who they thought would mediate? Because I'm thinking that's what will eventually happen. But even if they did release the video, since we're all going to social media courts now, you know, if their father no longer feels embarrassed in the neighborhood, because this for 26 years, it's true now. You beat your wife all the time, you raise your voice. Some people, I know someone who drags his wife outside, and, you know, to finally control her is to tear her naked. Wow. You say, see her, that's why you want to leave. You tear her naked, and people will come. And so neighbors had to ask the woman, when do you want to stop this madness? It's you that are tearing now. So when do you want to leave? You don't have that shame, you don't know when your voice is, a simple conversation becomes an argument and is loud and you have engaged your neighbors inside your house. And social media is not too much now.
Mikey, your thoughts on this?
No, it's bad. My thoughts, well, when I saw the video, I was like, I mean, I can imagine myself, if it was my mom, I can imagine myself defending my mom against the stronger, the more powerful sex, if you know what I mean. My mom would have been the weaker sex. I mean, I never saw my father lay any hand on my mom. But what I'm just trying to say is, I can imagine why they would do that, because anything can happen. What I can't understand is what can lead the man to be such a beast. Why would the woman stay in such a situation? I cannot. I have never been a victim of spousal abuse, domestic violence. Because it's a situation I cannot even imagine myself in. Because one slap, I'm out.
Hey. Like he was holding a belt. Like
he was flogging like a belt.
No, he wasn't holding a belt. He went to get a belt, like you're coming to beat a child. So, and he was saying to the woman, one more word from you. And that's the abuse is beyond the instrument. Nima. She doesn't even have a voice. So this person, even if the two of them were locked in a room, two soldiers to both sides, that woman must not say something.
So, you know, you mentioned the thing about culture. Also, as Christians, you hear the honor your father and your mother. And I know that for a lot of us, our culture is even in the face of your parents' provocation or bad behavior, you're not allowed or you're not meant to, you know, step to them. But I just remember I was looking for it and I found it. It's in the Bible where it says that fathers do not provoke your children to anger. Fathers do not provoke or irritate or exasperate your children. You know, instead, lead them where, discipline them and teach them the right way to go. So even the Bible recognizes that there's something that a parent can do that can cause a child to dishonor or disobey or do something wrong, and that fault will be on you. So because also that he's a pastor, I just wanted to say, probably,
no, he's a deacon,
okay, maybe well-respected in the church. You know, there's something about being well-respected in organizations like that. They don't want to put it out there. They may have even approached the church many times, and we know that usually with churches, it's about, don't worry, we'll talk to him, we'll calm down. But in many years of, you know, in many years of marriage and probably this abuse, the children decided maybe
in
we
the
should just
video,
let it go.
if my memory serves me correctly, in the video, the woman was still defending her husband. She was trying to calm her kids down.
No, she was trying to avoid the traditional course. You know, so the daughter had, you know, come in between herself, and she knew she was going to get beaten, or she was probably afraid the girl was going to attack her dad. She came in between that. Because traditionally, now I'm just imagining what will be happening. Video have come out. The people that know tradition, they will now come
tradition, what do you mean?
Okay, so African tradition, the child doesn't stand up to their parents. Even in my religion, Islam, is in extreme cases you can even, and you must be in the most kind language, assertive but kind. So you can't be rude. You can say, no, this is wrong. I can't, you know, but you cannot, you know, put a fist to them. So she knows the backlash that will come if it comes out that, you know, their child, or and maybe she thinks the father will tell. You know, in tradition, you hear men say, now their mama, the children, them be, now their mama, they turn them against me. But your home, your way of running the family, your family values are such that, you know, constantly there will be discord in the home. So take care of, I know the Empress, where we have all the solutions to these kind of things. You know, the way your home is run is not such that there will be no way your child will not have a side. They will have a side. Normally, children, their first friends are their mothers. For me, they will have a side normally, even if there's no
girls. The girls are likely to actually, you know, be victims or survivors of domestic violence also, because they've seen their father do it. They're likely to actually accept somebody slap their face. Oh, my daddy did worse than this. I mean, one slap. That's how it starts. So, so these are the kind of things we're trying to prevent when young people. Now, I don't know if they are minors, because I don't know they're
these are not minors. Though.
They're below 18, because I think the government can actually come in this, because if they're below 18, that's the adult age. If they're below 18, government can still intervene in this situation and try to see what they can do. But by releasing this video, either they did it intentionally or not intentionally, what is the object? Are they asking for help? Are they asking for help? But they're asking for intervention, or just saying, let me embarrass this man, let the world see.
No, it might just be help.
It might be maybe they sent it to...
What's the objective?
Yeah, but it may even be just a cry for help. It may be a cry for help. Do you know what? Because I'm a child, and if I were to be... if I were to witness my parents in that situation, there are times that children would take what has happened home to tell someone else. It's just that we're now in social media age. So you're not going to tell someone because you want to embarrass them. You're seeking help. Like, someone needs to do something right now. This has gone on for too long. So I believe it's in that spirit that that video must have come out from them if they did it. Or if someone was handed that video and just thought, I was handed this video 2 years ago and this thing is still going on, please put it out there. Let the church know what he's doing. Let his workplace know what he's doing. Maybe something would.
But let's go on a break. Now that they have known, what should they do? That's our conversation. I want to come back on the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. As we wrap up this conversation on the domestic violence video that we saw that went viral, we'll take a few comments on social media. Waike, you're going to ask?
No, I was going to ask, when do we stop this tradition of you can't stand up to your parents or your uncles or your... I mean, let's say worst case scenario, okay, I know somebody. I actually know somebody whose uncle, her father's brother, was abusing her, sexually abusing her. And now that they are old, he now asks her for money. And she looked at him, you? You?
From your mouth.
You can even talk to me? You don't remember? They'll say, please, I'm sorry. So when are we going to stop that? My parents or my uncle or my auntie did wrong. I'm now an adult. And I can stand up to you or... That's where I can't...
We don't want... that's a very important question. Where do we begin to be able to speak up against those who are abusers? But we don't want to do that also in... We don't also want to forget our culture of respecting our elders. Yeah. So is that thin line between, okay, yes, we respect elders, but not those who have abused us.
Where is the respect? If This person I'm talking has been sexually abused.
Oh, of course. Definitely you have to stand up. So we have to train our
Exactly.
raise our children to stand up. Let me take this call that I'll come to you, Nima. Lady Joke from Iju, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for this program. Oh. I've been with you since 2013.
Wow. Welcome. Thank you
Yeah.
to the show.
Well done.
Thank
Please,
you.
I want to say something about what you are talking about.
Go ahead.
Okay. You know, this thing happened to me too when I was young. Our father used to beat our mother. But it was until my immediate junior brother stood up one day that told him, if you dare it again, he will beat him. Since then, he stopped. So sometimes this thing helps. Not that the boy really meant to beat our dad, but you know, he was so annoyed. I know, because it has been going on for long.
For too long.
So he stood up and told him categorically that if he tries again, he will beat him. And since then, he has never done it.
Wow.
So
Thank you very much,
that's
Lady
it.
Joke. Thank you very much.
You see, I like that story because this is what I'm trying to say. When will we say, stop this nonsense? Stop this nonsense. You can't beat my mother again. Or if it's my father that you have been beating, you can't beat my father again.
But I heard stories of where the fathers actually beat up the children
Yes.
too.
Put everybody.
Yes.
Put it together.
When the boy stands up before he's strong
age,
enough to,
yeah.
he will get beaten, and then the circle worsens. So when he stands up when he can, and when the father knows when to stop immediately. But I've seen where the father chooses to hate. I've even seen where he removes a child, that particular child from
his favor.
He wrote his will deliberately to exclude that child. You've desecrated that our whatever relationship, and you will never benefit from me. So we've seen extreme cases. But I would think that whatever the situation is, you as a father have a tradition in your house that works. When our African elders say, "Ti baba ba ku, baba lo ma ku," that is, the elders, uncles, relatives, and all of those people, they remain. It is for guardian and protection of the child. But we've seen where it is an abuse of the child itself. Where uncles come in and the father just died and tell their mothers, "Oh yeah, if you don't marry me, your children and all of you will suffer." And they deliberately impoverish those children. When the child grows up, it is not abnormal that the uncle should get beaten at some point. Or that the child grows up. Because in my own Islam, for instance, I only owe my biological parents, feeding and protection. And out of respect for them, to extend it to their next of kin and relatives in the line of their own sibling and all of that. Right. Not out of duty to those people.
Let me take this call.
Somebody will now come and twist it and compel.
Let me take this call from Shola from Oshodi. Good morning, Shola. Are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, this situation too happened to me. Right from when I was small, back primary school, I remember my dad always beating my mom. And I remember when I was in JS2, I told my mom that she should leave. I don't know why. I've never heard about this domestic violence and all, but I felt something was wrong. And I told her to leave. And she said, where will she start from? That where is she going to keep us? That she leave, another woman will come. How are we going to take care of ourselves? Blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, it continued. My dad beat my mom in front of my cousins that comes to spend holidays, in front of a friend of mine that always comes visiting. It was embarrassing. Then, this thing went long till my year 3. I remember very well. That Sunday, after beating my mom in the morning, we went out and came back. My mom was in our room, and my mom didn't come out to greet. So I stepped out to get something. By the time I came back, I was just going bad. This man was beating my mom. Out of annoyance, I hit him. I pushed him. And he came for me and he started beating me. Then my mom was able to call my auntie. She came. And I was even thinking that would even be the end of the marriage. You just tell her, because she was aware of all the beatings. So I knew that they should beg. My mom should stay. My mom is still there. Since that very first day, since that day, after the whole thing happened, that I confronted him. Anything she says, when I went back to school, she kept calling my dad is still doing that. I was just always angry and I'm not interested. it is your life. Since you can't even stand up to yourself to defend yourself or make the right decision for yourself. But another thing is, my dad is a good father. He did everything right for my brother, and he's still doing. But as a husband, is a
terrible husband.
So sometimes if I want to do something, I feel like he's my father. He has worked. He has done the work. He's taking care of us. I'm even married now. But my mom, I'm married now, and I'm able to know the difference between an abuse and love.
Oh.
My mom is still there, and she's still receiving beating.
Oh, Lord. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much. This is such a painful story because many of these abusers are always great fathers. And that's why the children are always torn between the emotions of loving him but hating him because they're not sure where to stay. Because this is a man that is so caring. And I know of an abuser too, who was such a fantastic father.
Sometimes they're not just fantastic, they're fantastic providers, not fathers. You know, there's an emotional...
but this is her story.
Fathering is also part of providing.
He's providing. Let's listen to her here. And she says he's a great father. Yeah. Whatever being a father means for her.
Not only that, Nima, you'd be surprised. Yeah. They love their children.
I'd heard something this morning on my way to work, and they were talking about people who who carry out abuses. And why it's so difficult to almost, to punish them is that it's hard to punish someone who has different sides to them. He's a great son. He's a fantastic boss. You know, you would say, but he's such a horrible husband. And the employees would be like, I have never seen this side of this man. This man is so kind. Yeah. When I needed this help, he stood for me. A community where he's revered and because of things that he would sacrifice. Yeah. And yet when it comes to the home, he's such a bad person that it makes it really complicated, especially for the loved ones to say, okay, you know what, we're going to name and shame you. Because if we named and shamed you, we're only telling one side of your story. And I feel that that's what makes a lot of children struggle, but it leaves them with something. You know, I just didn't want to put Shala on the spot. I just wanted to find out, does she have any anger issues? Does she, when she says that sometimes her mom calls and she's like, handle your thing. After a while, I'm tired of giving you all my empathy and my sympathy. You need to stand up for yourself.
To me, that is also a form of abuse. If I'm witnessing my father beating my mother or my mother beating my father on a regular, it's a form of mental abuse to me.
It is.
And Shola needs treatment. She needs to see someone. Right. And I'm saying it with all sense of responsibility because even if she doesn't have anger issues, she has hurt issues.
Yes.
She's hurting.
Right.
She needs to, and you could hear it in her voice.
Yeah,
let me take this call from Peter. Right. Peter, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes.
You're live.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wow, your topic today is very, very interesting. I've been trying your line for forever. I'm so blessed to be connected to you guys today.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Our society is really in a lot of pressing demands about abuses in marriages today. I am a product of a broken home, where growing up my dad was fond of beating my mom. And interestingly, even during the festive period, 25th Christmas Day is held in our home, where we, instead of rejoicing with our friends and neighbors, we always see ourselves crying because of the maltreatment. And it got to a point that in our growing up, we are 4 boys and 4 children. We took collectively asked our mom to leave the house because we saw that even at our older age, our mom was still beaten by our dad. And when we tried to come in, he would tell us that if we don't want to experience such kind of marital challenges, we should mind our business. And it was as if he was in there trying to lay a curse on us until we had to ask our mom to leave. And we were grateful to God that she has left, and she's fine. She's doing very great.
Okay.
And I believe one of the ways we children can cope this is we don't have to fight our dad. We don't have to quarrel with him. I feel what we should do is find a way to get our mom out of the house. Some mothers might be relentless. They might want to stay, hoping that the man will change. But I feel at first, the best thing they should do is to take their mom out of the house.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Peter. I mean, that's obviously good advice. We have to wrap up on this. I think you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I had one story. I remember this story of a woman who, when the children were much younger, the children grew up to see their father constantly physically abuse their mother emotionally, verbally. And when they were old enough to provide her a safe place, they did. And then much later, he's old and he's ill. And now they're asking her to please go back to the house to take care of the father. You know,
to beat her again.
Yes, but you're taking her back to that place of.
But
and where does he get
his senses will be with him now. He will realize a lot of them.
Many of those guys.
When you take yourself out of the situation, the men now realize what they.
You know what? The irony of it all those gra men that beat up. They're the ones that fall sick early. In their 60s, they're already wrinkled up. Either they have the hypertension, they're hypertensive, they have one issues, and it's the women they've beaten up. They'll not be expecting that. They will not be expecting to be feeding them, caring for them, and they'll not do that. So maybe we have to find a way to do a part 2 of this conversation because we need to discuss the aftermath of abuse. How do we help both parties? The man, how do we help him in his old age? How do we help the mother to move on? Or how do we help the children to help their parents? These are various conversations we'll have to continue to have.
Father, that's all I know. Even in death, your children will love you. It's extremely important. And if you can love your children, you can love your wife. I can't just understand that. That personality thing.
In this situation, they're saying
some
men will love the kids, but they beat their wives.
Yeah, they despise the wife.
Because if you look into the history of the man,
not a good father.
If you look into the history of the man, maybe he too was abused.
Yeah. We have to wrap up on this. I can't take any more. I know it's Wednesday. We have to bring in our guests on business and in entrepreneurship. But I think, as I said, this is a conversation that's never ending. We'll continue to talk about different angles of it. It's really important that we continue this conversation, but not today. Let's go on a break now. When we come back and bring in our guests for today, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.